All right. So welcome to Selling for Success, Monday Morning Sales Clinic, The Joy of Six, 2015. We're all a little sleepy today. Again, just we've looked at knowing yourself. We talked last week about knowing your niche, and I don't know if anybody spoke to any clients this week. Did anybody connect with any clients? Just have a little chit chat with them, or book a planning session? You know, book those planning sessions this time of year. It's a great time of year because it's a little quieter and for some, and it's a good time just to connect and find out what your clients' plans are for the year ahead. We're going to look at warming up the sales call. We're going to look at developing a sales action plan still. Selling is a good conversation, overcoming the fear. Ask, ask, ask. Don't give up. Stay in touch and working on building relationships. So last week I asked you to think of your top 3 clients. What do you know about them now? Anybody have any great information about your clients? Anyone? No? So, just really make sure you're doing your research. I like subscribing to Google News alerts about my industry, and I get some really fascinating information back. So, again, the challenge was to call 3 of your best clients and book a planning session with them, just to discuss what their wants, needs, and budgets are. And this will really help you just sort of get an idea, like a really good kind of clear picture as to what's going on in your client's world. And it'll help you sort of position yourself. So when you have a conversation with your clients or with other clients, you can say, is this something that's coming up for you? Because we're finding it in our research with our other clients. And if it is, that's what we do to help you. So it's really, the reason for this is just so you have better conversations with clients, that you kind of get them intrigued a little bit, and that you show up more as a sales leader and as a thought leader, that you know what's going on. You got your finger on the pulse. You know how you can maybe provide ideas and solutions to to your clients' problems. And that's a really great way to market and position yourself, especially when it comes to making those dreaded cold calls a little bit. So today we're going to look at that.
David?
Yeah, Miguel?
I'm sorry, can I add to that? Because you asked if we had done our homework, and I didn't get a chance to respond there, but I did my homework.
And what did you find?
Well, I managed to not book an actual session because it takes me time to actually prepare for it. But I did call a couple of clients, and one of which that I know that they're having some challenges with growth and their technology and adapting to it, or having the technology adapt to their growth. And so I have, in fact, started the process of compiling some information in 2 scenarios for them, which I'll be meeting with them to talk about, where they're at with their business, where they need to go, and how we're going to get there.
Awesome. Can you keep us posted on that and how that goes?
Pardon me?
Can you keep us kind of up to date on how that goes?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is that a bit of a new tactic for you since this course, or were you doing that before, Miguel?
We were doing it before. So we are supposed to meet with our clients at minimum once a year. So every 6 months, really, actually. Mm-hmm. And even better would be quarterly. But I think what we find is we get too bogged down, and we forget that how important it is to, as you say, keep your finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
We were doing it every 6 months, and we just have to get back into that routine. Because in our industry, you do a lot of things remotely, and sometimes clients feel that you're not really there. You're not really doing much. It seems that way to them, but of course we are. We're doing a lot of it in the background, and we need to see them. They need to see us to again, make sure they don't forget who we are, and that they know that we're doing everything for them and helping their business. and keeping the finger on the pulse.
Yeah, that's really important. You raise a really, a lot of really good points. And, a lot of customers leave us not because of we did something wrong necessarily. Usually it's because they're not feeling the love from us. They're not feeling that you're paying attention.
It's true.
And when you stay kind of close to your customer and you have that FaceTime and really connect with them on a maybe even a bit of a deeper level, not that you got to know every nook and cranny about their lives, but when you can take that time out, boy, oh boy, just watch what happens. I really like what you're doing, Miguel, and I'd love to hear like the update and what happens if you're all right to share that in the next couple of weeks. Is that cool?
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? So today is really about, getting clients. And one thing you have to factor it into part of your overall marketing plan is you got to prospect and cold call and network and talk to business owners and clients. And prospecting, really, truthfully, it can be done anywhere. I mean, you could be in the grocery store aisle and you start having a conversation with someone, and you might make a contact or a client. So I like to try and avoid cold calling if I can. So one of the things I like to do is get warm leads. So what are ways that you can get, warm up that sales process and get warm leads rather than calling somebody cold out of the blue, which I'm not adverse to, and I actually I'm probably a little bit of a dinosaur, and I still do cold calling. It actually works for me as a way to boost my client base. But what are some of the ways that you can maybe warm up the lead and not maybe have to do cold calling? Any ideas?
It's Miguel here. I can share one of the strategies that we use. We actually have a list of prospects that we purchase, and we get about 60 leads a month. And to warm them up to us, what we do is we first send out a mailer. And the mailer is just an introduction letter. It actually has a picture of whoever's sending it so that it looks more personal. And it's personalized to that individual. What we find is that when we do the cold call after they receive the letter, we're no longer a complete stranger to them. And so it becomes more of a warm call. And that seems to work really well.
Beautiful. Okay. Any other ideas on how you warm up the process?
Hi, David. It's Dave Botso here.
Hey,
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you.
I have to apologize. I just got audio now in the last 20 seconds.
Okay, good. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, so anyway, another way we found to warm up the process a little bit is maybe if you know other customer, or if you happen to have other customers in the same industry, I refer back to those customers and tell the prospect how we've helped them.
Right. Good. Yeah. So you're working your referrals and sharing your success stories.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a great way to warm up the process. Because, like, I don't know about you, but it's kind of like, you're throwing the dice when you're making a cold call. I got 5 ways that kind of work for me, and I think you all do it. I hope you do. Is I do a little networking, but I'm really focused about my networking as to where I'm going. I really like the Toronto Board of Trade. The Board of Trades aren't bad. I find the Toronto Board of Trade a little meatier in terms of their member base and what they offer. Sometimes I like to do, lead seminars where I'm speaking at an event or a business event or a networking event, and then I build in, a funnel, like a sales funnel. Yeah, if you want more, connect with us. Here's what you get. I like to write. I don't know about all of you, but writing I find, and really target your writing, like find those publications or blogs where they're tapped into your audience. And then, Dave, what you just said, ask for referrals from your existing clients, and that's great. I actually have a little bit of a, like I'll even include a reward program, and at the very least I send a thank you card to all my the people that give me a referral, because it's really important to be acknowledged for those referrals. I know personally, I remember a couple of years ago, I sent my bookkeeper about 3 referrals, and I about 3 months later, I said, "Did you ever get them? And did you get the referrals I sent?" And she said, "Oh yeah, thank you." And I said, "Well, it would have been nice to thank me then." And I thought, I'm not going to send referrals anymore. I think it's important for the referral giver to be acknowledged. Not that you have that expectation, but it's just a nice touch. And what they'll do is they'll send you more referrals if they think you value their contribution. The other thing is just be really outstanding so you get really great word of mouth. And then also position yourself as the expert in the industry or the niche you want to work in. So, so that media might call on you, or, people will know you clearly as the go-to person in the industry. I find that's really important. Any questions on those? Does that make sense? So
Yes.
when I warm up the prospecting process, I find it gives me a little bit of credibility, like people know you ahead of time. Plus, it takes away that fear from going in cold. Right? It's like, yes, I know when I do cold calling, I'll sometimes fumble my words, or I'll get the wrong person, or, they'll be in a bad mood that day, so at least I have some sort of, lead-in and commonality already established, or that trust is already present. They see you on your social media sites. They see you on the chat groups that you belong to online. They already have a feeling for you ahead of time. So when you do call, it's like, oh yeah, it's you, okay. And also it's leads to less sales stress, I find. So make it a part of your goals this year to make your marketing sort of be the lead into customer and lead generation. The other thing that's really important is, to have goals. I don't know how many of you did it at the beginning of the year, but to have actual sales goals, like what's your financial targets this year? What do you want your sales to be? Is it going to be 50,000? Okay with that? Is it 100,000? Do you want to hit the $1 million mark? Like, how many of you have goals? I'm just like, or projections, cash flow projections as to, hey, what am I going to sell every month? Anybody done that yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good. It's really important to do, and it gives you something to shoot for. And then you break it down. Then if you're going to sell $100,000 or make $100,000 this year, then how many calls are you going to have to make a day? How many face-to-face meetings do you want? How many of those face-to-face business meetings, like those planning sessions, will convert into a sale? How many sales are you converting from traffic to your website? How many deals do you need to close each week? So it really, what it does when you have a real clear focus, it breaks down your work and where you need to focus, because we, focus our time. Because what I find is we're pulled in so many directions each week that it's, with social media, with putting out fires, with personal issues. What this does is it really helps you focus. Like, how much money do you need to make each month? What's your break-even point? What will you be happy with? Do a cash flow forecast. Really get to know your numbers in terms of what's coming in and what's also going out. And also be aware of those seasonality trends and affecting your sales. I often hear a lot of people in my industry think, oh, December is a bad month, and it's a slow month. After the 15th, it's finished, right? And it's like, well, why does that have to be? Like, whose wisdom is that? Like, so what I'm trying to kind of say here is that you don't have to buy into the common beliefs of others. You can set your own beliefs. You can do something. You can create something. You can launch a campaign that will boost your sales in slow times. And make it sort of like a bit of a goal, a little bit of a project to do that, to sort of buck common belief, buck the trends, a little bit, and make those, apparent, slow times of the year a good time of year. And then again, really just be aware, though, of how trends and seasonal issues might actually affect your business and sales totals, so that your plan, you've got money in the bank to carry you through those maybe quieter months. Any comments, questions? Anyone? All right.
David, we actually have our goals set on a PowerPoint page.
Okay.
And we modify them throughout the year. But one of the things that Dave does actually is Dave Baza, I'm referring to, is he prints it out and pastes it at his desk.
Okay.
So he's looking at it every single day to make sure he's on track.
Excellent. It's almost like your mom over your shoulder, eh, Dave? You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like it's a subliminal thing, right? That you constantly look at it every day, and it reminds you subconsciously, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and Dave's sales manager is actually his wife, so.
Yeah. Unofficial sales manager, but is trying to be official. Behind every man, behind every good man, there's a woman, right?
Oh, yeah. As long as we know that, we're going to be happy for a long time to come.
Yes.
Andrea is asking for a template for sales targets. Yeah, I can send you a cash flow forecast if anybody wants. I do have a cash flow forecast if you want. And Andrea's saying she actually focuses on each month, and then she goes 30, 60, 90 days out, which is a smart idea. So, yeah, it's really good to kind of focus and also, you know, maybe even dust off that plan or, you know, look. I like the fact that you look at your goals daily. I think that's really important because it reminds you, you know, and we can get a little bit off track quite easily. There's so much stuff to do and so much coming at us, you know. I'm finding this year, I don't know if you guys are finding it so far, but it's kind of like the year of focus, you know, just really keeping your focus. Is anybody else finding that?
Andrea has her hand up.
Okay, Andrea. I can't see what she's saying for some reason. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna forge ahead. Oh.
David, I actually find.
Yeah. Oh, we lost you there. Are you back?
Oh, I can't hear him either.
Yeah.
I'll just text him here right now.
Okay.
Tell him that I can't hear him.
I think he's self-muted. Which sounds kind of harsh.
Oh, am I unmuted now?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I've been playing with the mute button. You can't tell sometimes if you're muted or unmuted.
Yeah.
But to your comment, this is the year of focus. We've actually said in the office that this is the year to kick ass.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but
no, it's fine.
And I think you know, previous years for us anyway was about planning, refining our processes. We have a new CRM ERP system, so we have everything in place, and so for us, it's really the year to kick ass.
Oh, excellent, excellent, good. I hope it goes really well. I like that. Why not? There's a great website. It's called Startup Vitamins or something, and they have all these like really you know, expressions like that. You know, kick butt. You know, take no prisoners. It's all business motivation, but you know, in the modern day language. Andrea asked Dave if it's okay if you could email her that PowerPoint goals that you have. Would you be okay with that? Okay. So sure. Andrea, I'll put you in touch with Miguel after the probably tomorrow or tonight. Okay, because I got to run out after today's session. And I'm going to unmute you. Okay. Andrea, I'm unmuting you. There you go. You're unmuted.
Can everyone hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That sounds great. I actually, I was just recently told to do 30, 60, 90 in terms of sort of sales goal planning. I haven't started it yet because it was just brought to my attention. So if anyone has any best practices or any templates around that work well for them, I would love to share. I've sort of managed more with cash flow before, but I just find it's too really granular. I really want to see like up close and personal what are sort of the key, clients in the pipeline, and then what are the closing points, and do they fall into the 30, 60, 90? So if anyone has any best practices or templates, that would be fab.
Thanks, Andrea. And you want to just, well, I'll put you in touch with Miguel after today, okay?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good. I like the cooperation. And Matthew, welcome. Good morning to you, too. I know you're there.
Well, thank you, David.
So goals, make sure you have your goals. I think we all do. Their dreams of the deadline. Make sure you're clear as to how many calls, contacts you think it's going to take to get an appointment. Studies show it takes 11 to 12 contacts with a prospect to get that sale. 11 to 12 contacts. That's not just meetings. That's phone calls. That's email. That's a direct mail piece. That's inviting them to your breakfast networking sessions that you go to. It's those kind of contacts. So you got to kind of keep that in mind when you're marketing. Like it takes time, and just be patient. Sometimes it takes a year to 2 years. I know I've got a meeting this Thursday with people at the Royal Bank, Thursday afternoon. That took me over a year to get, just by staying with it. And there's another guy at another Royal Bank that I've been trying to get in to see, and that's been over a year and a half. And I'm not stopping because he never told me to stop. So that's the other thing about your goals. Don't stop, really, until you get the cease and desist letter from a lawyer or they throw you out the door, really, So, don't stop. And watch the story you're telling yourself when you get no response from a client. A lot of us have these stories in our head that, maybe we chose the wrong profession, we should have been a lawyer, all those little funny stories. The negative voice really starts to creep up. So watch those stories because it could be really impacting you from succeeding, truthfully. Just watch those stories. I'm going to, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try this little YouTube. This is Mel Robbins. She speaks on Success Magazine TV. She's a lawyer, speaker, author, radio show host. I hope you can all hear it. If not, and I hope my computer doesn't crash.
So I love.
Can you hear this?
Book. Each time you push through.
Can you all hear that? Okay, good.
I can.
Okay, good.
You're making a long-term investment in yourself. Talk to us about that for a minute, because this is the reward on the end of the other side of the line by doing the hard work of taking that action in the 5 seconds, going against what your brain is telling you. So talk to us about the long-term benefits of all this.
You got it. Because the one takeaway, Darren, from all the research that I've done and all the science that's in the book is that if you want to change anything about your life, just do the things that you don't feel like doing. It really does boil down to that. You're never going to feel like doing the things you need to do to have what you want. Your mind isn't wired that way. It will try to make you feel like things are too big. It'll try to make you feel like things are too scary. It'll try to make you feel like now's not the time. And so if you push through those feelings and take action even though you don't feel like it, you'll have everything. The compound effect that you write about, Darren, will start to take hold. This whole book is about tricking people into how to take action. That's what this is about. And so, the thing about that rule that's very important, Darren, is that over time, you've built a muscle to not listen to yourself. You've built the muscle of taking anti-actions, actions like surfing the web instead of making cold calls, actions like watching TV instead of doing research, actions like sitting around and putting stuff in your Twitter account that's nonsense instead of getting your butt out the door and going off and networking with people that might potentially help you with the business you want to launch. You've filled your schedule with so much stuff that isn't important that it's squeezed all the time out of your schedule, so now you have a convenient excuse of not doing anything, and the excuse of that you don't have any time. And so I think it's really important that what you realize about your life is that you're never going to feel like it. And if you start to push forward and take action anyway, it's like any other muscle. Over time, you slowly start building the muscle of taking action. You start building the muscle of not listening to your own crud. You start building the muscle of ignoring what your mind is telling you and operating from your desires instead of your fears. You start building the muscle of acting strategically instead of acting emotionally. And you can retrain your brain. Absolutely. After a month of waking up and not hitting the snooze alarm, do you think it's going to be hard or easy? It's going to be easy. And the reason why is because by doing it every morning, you've made a long-term investment in yourself. You've built muscles that make you powerful and successful instead of maintaining the ones that keep you stuck.
Woohoo! I love that.
That's awesome.
I know. I think she's great. You know, I really, that's Mel Robbins. I don't know if any of you get Success Magazine, but I usually get mine at Chapters. I should just get a subscription already. And I get mine at Chapters, and I pick it up every month, and they have a CD, and she was in it a few years ago, and I just love that message, because really, you know, if you guys are going to have a kick-ass year, you got to really, you know, stretch that muscle and make that happen. So I like the fact you're having, you know, you said 2015 is, you're going to kick butt. I love it. You know, take no prisoner, right? And it's fun. Don't you find when you overcome your own self, it's like, yeah, you know?
David, can I share a story with you?
Please.
Hi. Okay, I was in a meeting last week with a prospect who found us online, and it looked like he was just gathering quotes, right?
Yeah.
So just, you know how you have to, some companies have a policy before they award a contract, they have to have 3 quotes,
Yeah.
or 5 quotes, or whatever it is. So I get to this meeting, I meet the owner in the lobby, very good conversation with the owner, trying to connect with him with other clients that I've had over the years in the same industry, and unfortunately he didn't know anybody I knew, but that's okay, at least he knew that I had a little bit of exposure to his industry. So as I'm in the meeting with the actual buyer, he shows me 4 quotes for solutions that we are going to quote on. And I said to him, is the lowest price going to win here? And he said, not necessarily. And I said, what are you going to determine, how do you determine who wins the contract? Are you looking for a partnership, or are you just looking for a commodity purchase? And I basically said to him, we're not going to be the lowest price, and if that's what's going to win, I don't think I should quote you. So he said, no, I want you to quote, here are the other quotes.
Wow.
And he gave me a copy of all the other quotes, and he's got another one coming in from another competitor today, and he's going to send that to me as well. Because I said to him, we take a consultative approach, not just a let's shoot at who gets the lowest pricing approach. You know, let's just keep bidding and bidding and bidding. Anyway, it worked out really good, and I basically straightened him out in a sense that, you know, that take no prisoners attitude, right? I'm not putting up with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it turned out to be a very good meeting. So
excellent. And why waste your time? You know, if it really is about price, then, you know, once you're into a price war with somebody, it's game over. You're just a commodity.
Yes.
And what you want to do is you want to sell your knowledge, your know-how, your value, your experience, your ideas, your creativity. That's where that's where you really help the client. You know?
Yes, exactly.
And that's what we got to get to. You know, we got to remind the client of our value. We have to be aware of our value and the success stories and the facts and the figures and the research and be able to sort of, you know, advise our clients. And that's what I'm trying to kind of get at here with these workshops, you know, these webinars. Just watch so you know that you don't get stopped. I like the fact, Dave and Miguel, that you have this new attitude about you. I think it's really important because we didn't get stopped so easily. I find, you know, like the, you know, if we get turned down or rejected, it's not easy, and we're going to get turned down and rejected. And especially if we're making a prospecting call or a cold call. And I really like the writing and the teachings of a woman by the name of Byron Katie. She's a personal growth specialist, and she's known throughout the world. And she's got this process that she developed called the work. And it's a process for making breakthroughs in limiting self-sabotaging thinking. And we do. We sabotage ourselves when we're in sales and business because the rejection starts to hurt and mount up. So, if you think a client or prospect that you call and you keep calling doesn't care after you've called them time and time again, ask this. Is it true that they don't care? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you react when that happens, when you believe that thought? And then she asks, who would you be without that thought? So case in point, I had a client, a young entrepreneur. I'm involved in as a coordinator for a young entrepreneur program here in the city, and she's of East Indian descent. And she thought that the security, and she's a woman, and she was working the boat show. And she thought, her belief was that she felt that the security people at the boat show, when they let her in the morning, were kind of assessing her or judging her based on her, A, being a woman, and B, being of East Indian descent. And I asked, do you really know that that's true? Are you sure that they're judging you, or maybe they're just, And she said, oh, yeah, that might be right. So you got to just, step back. And if you're getting rejected or someone's not, calling you back or whatever, and what happens is we start to make up stories around that, usually negative stories about ourselves. So I always kind of do this, I ask these 4 questions, and I go, okay, who would I be without that thought? Who I'd be is, we're gonna kick butt this year. That's who I'd be. And then I get back on track. I get back to my true self. So this process at Byron Katie that I'm sharing with you, it's called the turnaround process, and each turnaround is an opportunity to experience the opposite of your thinking, the opposite of what you think that person that you feel has judged you is thinking. And really, the turnaround, that process, if you ask those questions, boy, it can really transform relationships, and it can transform you as well. So a turnaround, let's say you think the client doesn't understand you. Really, you should turn it around and say, I should understand them. I should understand myself. Or I need them to be kind to me, which turnaround would be, I need him to be kind to me, I need to be kind to him, and I need to be kind to myself. So just watch your thinking and turn it around. Maybe you be the leader. You be the person that's going to take care of your client, but you also have to take care of yourself in that too. So I'm going to...
Can I just...
Yeah,
Oh, hi. I was wondering if I could just kind of add on to that. I just also remembering that people have their own lives and concerns, and a lot of times we get caught up in that. So we make the story that's about us, and that we did something wrong, or we're in the wrong field, or we're being too aggressive, or we're not being aggressive enough. And sometimes it's just the other person is concerned they just haven't gotten back, or haven't had the time to get back, or they just, sometimes it is just them and it really isn't you at all.
Yeah, exactly. What happens is, let's say a client yells at you, or your boyfriend yells at you, and the turnaround should be like, Paul shouldn't shout at me. And the turnaround is, Paul should shout at me, which is hard for us to kind of take that in, right? And the other thing is, I shouldn't shout at Paul. I shouldn't shout at me. In my head, what happens is we start to play over and over that rejection. Oh, they don't like me. The client hasn't called me back. So we're kind of like who's really hurting who? The client hasn't called you back. They haven't said anything. They haven't said why. But what happens is we start to play over and over the negative aspect of that story in our head. So who's more merciful, Paul, who shouted once, or you who replayed it 100 times in your head? So this is, if you ever have a chance, pick up Byron Katie's book. It's really it's quite amazing. It'll not only transform how you work with clients, and it'll take some of that when you get rejected, some of that personal stuff out of it, but it'll also help you with your relationships too. Any questions on that? So it's Byron Katie, fascinating woman, boy oh boy. So I find like I don't know about you, Matthew, Dave, and Miguel and Evelyn. I see on the call. Welcome. You know, I always like to also surround myself with good people along my way. So what I really encourage you to do, and I think Dave and Miguel, because you work together, you kind of seem like you're good accountability partners for each other. So, yeah. And how does that help you when you have that partner to bounce ideas off of and to encourage each other to keep going?
I'll speak, Miguel, for a minute.
Sure, go ahead.
In my opinion, it's a team effort, and because we're team type people, we like team type of sports, and we like team. We like the analogy of being a team when you attack a solution, right?
Yeah.
So it's a teamwork. So you feel like you have a partnership and you're part of a team, which is more powerful than feeling like you're on your own. So, and to add to that, David, we actually do it, or I actually have almost mastered teaming up with our suppliers as well, and we each make ourselves accountable. So if I sell a particular product line like a Microsoft solution, we'll team up with the Microsoft rep in a sense and set up our own goals and objectives with that rep for his product line only. So we have our annual, or not annual, weekly meetings with suppliers as well, phone meetings. How is this and how's this lead? Like they'll give us a lead, they'll follow up with me, how's the lead going? I'll follow up back with them, how's this information I asked you about last week going? Are you able to get it? So we work together as a team with Miguel, but also with suppliers.
Yeah, for sure. And your suppliers are, you know, so vital because, you know, you just said, you know, they're giving you leads. They can give you insights on certain clients. And not only that, you know, if you need some financing, they might even, you know, extend some terms to you so you got, you know, a little longer to pay. So, you know, that.
Ironically, we have our team meeting at 10 o'clock today.
All right.
Yeah.
And every Monday.
All right. So I got to hurry up then. So,
Sure.
you know,
Okay.
I really like the idea of getting an accountability partner for yourself. I know, Evelyn, I think Gabriella is probably yours. Make selling a fun project. I like to kind of play at it, you know, like I don't look at it like, oh, I got rejected. I'm such a, you know, what did I do this for? I just like, okay, you know, so next time, you know, I really encourage, you know, to get a mentor, maybe somebody in sales that you really like. Start a mastermind team, and, you know, join that, you know, little networking club or an association group, a trade association. And I also like this, you know, always remember that if you get rejected, some will, some won't, so what, who cares, next. That's my motto sometimes. You know, just keep going, you know, like keep going. You know, make sure you have a sales plan too, you know, like how do you actually take a prospect from interest in what you have to making a purchase. It's really important for you to have that process and understand the steps you've got to go through in order to get a prospect to become a customer. I don't know how many of you have a bit of a sales process or plan that works for yourself. Anyone? You know, it's like how do you greet people? What questions do you ask when you go on a call? What's your quotes like? What do they look like? What goes into a presentation? I heard somebody wanting to chime in. Any comments on that?
Sorry, that was myself. That was me, Miguel here. We actually have a process that's driven by our CRM system.
Yeah.
And it's a little loose right now because we've just implemented a new system. So we are constantly working on it and improving it. And hence one of the reasons why we wanted to do this webinar with you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I have a system for everything. And what do I say? Who am I going to call on? What are the companies maybe I want to go after this year, or organizations? What's my what do I say on a call if I call them out of the blue? What's the meeting going to be? What am I going for? What are my goals? What happens on a meeting? What happens in a presentation? Where do I ask for the sale? So I'm clear. I have a focus and a direction. It doesn't always go to plan, but it gives me a framework to work within, and really encourage you to sort of work on a sales process plan. So the process I've shared with you already, that I kind of subscribe to is the 6-step sales process, the Joy of 6. So it's the research. I prospect, I connect, I talk it up. I try to get that first meeting. I never sell on the first time because I don't want to sell. I want to find out if that client's even a fit or if they have the budget. Then I work on my presentation. I might have to, and then I deliver the presentation or quote, and I might have to overcome objections and negotiate a little bit. Hopefully I do the work, and then I continue the relationship. I follow up. Following up is so important. So I want you to take a couple minutes, and we're going to work on a little bit of scripting. And what do you say to a client? And then I want you to practice this week. So I want you to just state who you are, where you're from, the company name, what do you sell in simple terms, maybe share 1 or 2 benefits of your product or service and how your customer might benefit from that, and end with engaging question to see if they're open to meet or move forward in some way. This is a great way to open up a conversation on the phone for the first time with a new prospect. You want to take this on for a couple of moments? And then we'll hear some and practice a little bit. This is a great way to have a to do a cold call or prospecting, and it's also good to use in a networking event too. So take a moment. I'll give you a couple minutes, and I'll be mindful of the time because I've got to run too today. This is a cookie cutter, like what you would say on a prospecting call. Another moment on this. Anybody have one yet?
Hi, this is Andrew here.
Okay.
Hi. I do have one. It's a little bit rough, but I'm just going to throw it out there just for the purpose of getting it started. And yeah, so my name's Andrea, and I run a company called Smart Digital Marketing, and we help businesses to essentially have their business marketed on the internet and help really kind of clarify what their unique vision is when it comes to their business online.
So
and
really, to me, that's really about helping to really be clear and concise when it comes to connecting your prospects and customers online.
okay, yeah. And actually, because I do training as well, I need to stick that in there somewhere, right? Because that's a very different. So we help people understand what digital marketing is all about, and we provide coaching and training support to help our customers understand what digital marketing is, and most importantly, we help our customers to have their business marketed on the internet in a fabulous way that helps them connect with the customers and get the results they're looking for.
Right, and grow their business, right? Yeah.
Their business.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, you're on track, Andrea. My ask of you this week is to practice this a little bit.
Practice? Okay.
Like practice with someone.
I think we have to ask engaging questions in some way. So we have a Jump Smart 360 package offer that we're offering clients right now that helps transform their business. And most importantly, it really helps them get results and get their campaigns created in a different way. I'd like to find out more information about the program or something like that. Can I send you more information?
Actually, what I would be more inclined to do, Andrea, is, would you be open to us showing you 3 ways, 3 really fast, easy ways that you can get results, better results, sales results, using digital marketing or online marketing?
Awesome. To getting three
sharing our 3
ways
to get better, better results.
3 ways to get better results. Yeah, because I have promises, brand promises as well. So that's where I would say, in 90 days, we have this program, right?
Yeah, we're going to get you 3 new hot leads within 90 days, or your money back. Would you?
Yes.
Meeting to show you how we do that.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, baby.
Thanks.
It's more than just a webinar. Yeah.
Totally.
You really gotta, the key is you gotta really fascinate people. So, this week part of your homework is practice this scripting, and because there's a methodology. This is a book I really also recommend you get. It's by a woman named Sally Hogshead. It's called Fascinate: How to Instantly Persuade and Captivate in a World with the Attention Span of a Goldfish. 9 seconds. So you've got to really be fascinating when you're connecting with your clients. So you got 9 seconds to sort of stand out and be fascinating. So you got to really tap into what are you going to do for people, and ask that question. Hey, we got 3 ways that we're going to guarantee results. Do you have time we can meet? And I can show you that. And that's all you have, really, when you're making a prospecting call or you're at a networking event. You've got 9 seconds, 10 max, but 9 seconds. If you go on and on at a networking event, yourself, you've tuned them out. It's like, okay, shut up already. People like the 30-second commercials. It's like that's 21 seconds too long. So you got to be really, really clear and concise and fascinate people that they want to see you and meet with you instantly. Because if you think your prospecting call is all about getting a sale, forget it. You cannot get a sale in 9 seconds. But what you can do is you can get that relationship. You can get that meeting. You can, get the customer interested or open to connecting with you or working with you or staying in touch with you over time until such time that they're ready to buy from you. Any questions on that? So the world, according to Sally, who I really like, I love her thinking, the world is not changed by people who sort of care. In a competitive environment, the most fascinating option always wins. She says, stand out or don't bother. You can be comfortable or outstanding, but not both. Forget what your business card says. You're an entrepreneur. Live in verbs, action words. Passion is the ultimate way to add value to your customer. And if you're not eliciting a negative response from somebody, you're probably not fascinating to anybody. What are your thoughts on that? Comments? I love her work. She's got some great videos on YouTube you can watch. She'll even show you how to get, do online dating and meet that man or woman of your dreams on YouTube. So
I'm actually curious to came up with 3 benefits, and I'm wondering if they fit into that. So it's essentially, our program allows people. It's an innovative program that allows you to in secret. I'm going to start over. So it's an innovative. Our new program is an innovative program that's completely unique and allows you to establish instant trust. It's increased engagement and get sales results in 90 days or less, guaranteed.
Okay. So practice it this week, Andrea, on some of your colleagues and see what feedback you get. So I really encourage you to work on that scripting and practice it, okay?
Okay.
And see if you can tighten it up even better for next week. So here's the other thing to know when you're making a prospecting call or a sales call for the first time, you got to expect to be told no to, because that's common. Somebody's not going to get you in 9 to 10 seconds. I guarantee it. But what you're doing is you're playing for a yes. You're playing that for the future. You're playing to at least to have the right to develop that relationship in the future. And understand when somebody says no to you on the phone, it's not personal. It means I don't know enough about you in 9 to 10 seconds to be able to say, yeah, come in, I want 10, Remember to practice your scripting. Know what you're going to say. Know who you're going to call on. I always make a contact list. I call on people I know first, so low-hanging fruit. I ask people that I know, not for their business, but for referrals, because they know me. I don't want to do business with friends and family. That's a disaster. And then I also look at what businesses do I want to call on? Who needs what I need? Who needs what I got the most? So remember, like, selling is really all it is. It's just a conversation. So when you talk to somebody and you go, man, they were interested, what makes them interesting? I like somebody with a sense of humor.
Yes.
I like creativity. I like a little controversy. I like to debate a little bit with somebody. That makes people fascinating. So what would make you fascinating? So what makes you fascinating, there's triggers that you can work with. You can use power. You can command your category. Ram truck is a great example of power. Built tough, right? Prestige. You can increase respect. Prestige. The Burke's Blue Box. Oh boy, I'm dating myself. You can be mystique, arouse curiosity. You remember those old Chanel No. 5 commercials with the airplane? Ooh, what's this? Oh, it's a perfume. You can use passion. You can attract with emotion. Or alarm, create urgency and need. The guy that advertises Diogardi tax lawyers, that's creating urgency and need. You're in trouble with with Revenue Canada. Well, we help, right? That makes them. That's fascinating. And then he shares stories and case studies. Rebellion. You can change the game and get creative. Apple was a little bit rebellious. Or you can work on the trust factor where you build loyalty. People trust you. So, just for lack of time, because we're actually at 10 o'clock, I've given you some examples of businesses that use power and prestige and all that. So I was going to see if we could have a discussion. But really, you got to be clear as to, like, how am I going to hook somebody? How am I going to get their attention? How am I going to be fascinating? Another way to do it, this is a methodology I use at networking events. And I go, do you know when? And I state the problem. Well, what we do is, and then I show them how we solve the problem. So this is a great sort of methodology to use at a networking event, because you've got like 9 to 10 seconds. Don't drone on. And when you approach your, this is like your elevator pitch at a networking event. When you approach it like this, boy, you're really going to stand out from the pack. Guaranteed. So do you know when? What's the problem your clients have? And then what do you do? How do you solve it? Does that make sense? Yeah. It's Miguel saying it's the year to kick ass, and you got a Facebook photo. I'll check that out. You email that to me, Miguel, if you could. So here's an example. Do you know when it comes time to buy that coffee at the drive-thru and the time that it takes to do that? Well, what we do is we come to your car, take your order personally, and deliver it right to your car door. People that are interested in that are going to want to hear from you. They're going to want to know more, right? So here's your homework. You got to practice. This is the old joke. I got into a cab in New York. I asked the cab driver, how do I get to Carnegie Hall? He replied, practice, practice, practice. So I really want you to practice your scripts on 5 people this week. Ask for feedback on how to improve them. Does that sound fair? So, even if it's your elevator pitch, like what's the elevator pitch going to be? Could be that, or it could be your opening statement. So we go back to the opening statement. Or is that? There it is. Or is it that? So practice those 2 this week. And let's hear some of them next week. Does that sound fair? Everybody cool?
Sure.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thanks. That's where you get me if you have any questions. Any questions, anything to wrap? Maimuna, you okay? Everybody good?
Thanks, David.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank you,
everyone.
David.
Thank you.
Have a good week. I'll email the PowerPoint to you by tonight, okay? So you can practice on this. And Evelyn, nice to see you, and have a good week. And Steve, thanks, and Miguel, thanks for your contribution. And Andrea, you as well, okay? And thanks, Maimuna and Matthew.
Thanks, David.
Okay,
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
David.
well, everybody.
Have a good week.
Yeah, you too. Cheers.